believe that God designed the body to heal when the interference is removed. And I believe that health is a journey. It's not a destination. I believe that we can accomplish it better when we do it in a community of like-minded people, because it keeps us focused on a common goal and a common purpose. And I believe that sharing and doing it in community also gives us hope and encouragement as we learn from each other. And that's my purpose today, is if you're a practitioner listening to this video, I want to give you just the commitment to keep on focusing, keep on searching for the source. If someone is not healing as expected, there's probably another source, another stressor that hasn't been addressed. Now, if you're listening to me as one of our clients, persistence. When you have a purpose, it will give you the commitment that you need and the motivation that you need to be persistent, to do the right things long enough to get the results that you deserve. I'm Tammy Stewart, certified health coach and certified cellular detoxification specialist. Now, before I became a practitioner, I was just like you. In fact, I grew up in a small town, and in our little town, there were 100 kids, 1st through 12th grades. In fact, the school wasn't even in a town. It was just on top of a hill. In between, if you looked south, were the pastures, and north were the fields and farms. And so we were just a little school, a little community school out in the middle of nowhere. And my dad was our science teacher. So in a school like that, that means he was my science teacher 7th through 12th grades. And when I became a practitioner, I just imagine him in heaven laughing, just like laughing, because that was the farthest thing from my expectation for my life. And yet I also imagine him, because he believed in natural healing, and I imagine him knowing, believing that this was the right road for me. I became a practitioner because our oldest son got sick. He was a junior in high school, and he came to us and told us that he felt depressed. And that was like, I felt like someone had sucked all the air out of the room, because I couldn't understand why that could happen. And I'm such a, there is such a mama cow in me that I wanted to fix that for him, because I believe God designed us to heal. I wanted the best for him. But it was really hard to find that in a world, in a community, in a country where natural health care is not taught, where healing is not popular, where what's popular is treating symptoms. And that frustrated me, because that wasn't getting rid of the cause of the problem. And so I had to become a practitioner so that I could learn what had to be done to heal my child. And there is no greater force than to be committed to do something for someone you love. So I became a practitioner, and I'm going to just throw in a few details. We found mold in our house, and we learned how to detox mold. And we found I had 8 metal fillings when I was pregnant with all 3 of my kids. So of course we had to remove that mercury from my mouth, but we then had to remove it from our cells, from all 5 of us, from our whole family of 5. And our son, as we started detoxing his cells, got rid of the mold in our house, started healing our bodies, he got his life back. And that is worth everything. How much would I have paid for that? How much would you pay to have optimal health? especially at a young age when he had his whole life in front of him. His health was more important than a car, wasn't it? I mean, his depression was preventing him from enjoying life, from going out with his friends, from figuring out what he wanted to do with his life. Think about when you were a senior in high school and the dreams that you had and the things that you were doing, you were so excited about. And he did well to get out of bed in the morning. And if that's how you feel right now, especially if you feel like you have been everywhere and done everything, I challenge you to be persistent. Keep your goal, your purpose in front of you, because that will motivate you to keep on searching for the answers, because I believe God designed our bodies to heal when we remove the interference. So in your heart or in your mind's eye, keep that purpose very vivid, very powerful, very close in front of you, because that will motivate you. It motivated us to do whatever it took. And he got better. And everyone else in our family was getting better. Our second son had chronic fatigue. And there were a couple of times I remember he called me from school, and that kid loved school. He called me from school and said, "Mom, you have to come get me. I just can't be at school today." And I would go get him and bring him home, and we lay on the floor and watch TV together because he just didn't have any energy. And that was he was a freshman in high school when that was happening. When he was a kid, woke up like a bird. He was happy in the mornings. And I watched the toxins, the poisons in his body, suck the energy and the life out of him, where he sounded like Eeyore. So I challenge you, if you know someone whose personality has changed, look for the cause. Don't put a Band-Aid on it, like covering up the check engine light on your car. Look for the cause, because life is precious and every one of us deserves to live it to the full, to have pleasure in life, to enjoy, and have energy so that we can do the things that God put us here to do. And I clearly remember when he started getting better. Now for him, it took a lot longer than it did for our oldest son. It took probably more than 2 years. He was slowly improving, but I clearly remember the morning when he started waking up like a bird again, because he came into my office and said, "Hi, Mom," and he had a smile on his face and he felt good first thing in the morning instead of dragging out of bed. And I hope that story of success will encourage you and motivate you, because you are worth it for yourself and for your friends and for your family, for the people who depend on you. And our daughter, all this time now she used to get sick all the time. She would get the excessive absence letter from school constantly. And as we started healing, she got better and better and better. And imagine how that feels as a parent. Or imagine your spouse or your friend or yourself getting better. Imagine how it feels to watch that. I was watching her be able to do the things that she loved. And then she started getting worse. And I just felt like, oh my goodness, here we go again. God, I don't understand. I've done all these things to get better, and now she's getting worse. And I'll tell you one thing in that situation that really held me together so that I could persist and find the answer that my child needed was my community. The practitioners that I'm a part of, they're like my family, because we believe the same things and we're in a strong community together. And they encouraged me. They reminded me when I felt so discouraged and on the days when I felt like there was no hope. They reminded me there is a solution. We just have to keep searching. And what we did is we tested her for Lyme, because that's the only thing that was left. We had done everything else that we knew to do. And she was positive for Lyme. And on the one hand, that's scary, isn't it? That's a really scary condition. And on the other hand, what I chose to focus on was the hope that, you know what, when we find the interference, we can remove the interference and God will heal our bodies. God put that power inside of us. Whether the interference is mold or mercury or Lyme or viruses or co-infections, God designed our bodies to heal. I believe that 100%. So we started working on that and we got better. Now, in the meantime, we found that our whole family of 5, all of us, had Lyme. But the protocols that we practiced were able to heal all of us from that problem. And this whole time I was getting better and better. And then I started feeling worse. And you're probably thinking, oh my goodness, I know just how you feel. It's like a saga, isn't it? It's like one thing after another after another. Have you ever felt like that? Like you've been everywhere and done everything, and oh my goodness, am I not finished yet? And you want to be the spouse, the friend, the neighbor, the parent, the coworker that God made you to be, but you're just tired at the end of the day, or you just hurt all over. And sometimes you probably maybe just feel guilty because you don't feel like exercising. You don't feel like going out and doing things. So that's kind of where I was at that point. I was hurting over the course of a couple of years, worse and worse, from my waist to my thighs. And what you may find yourself doing is just doing what you have to get through the day. Looking back, that's what I did. Instead of complaining, I would get out of bed in the morning, I would just hurt all over, and I'd move around until I could lean over and make the bed and start, getting dressed, and I would feel a little bit better. And I would learn to move my body in ways that didn't hurt as much. But looking back, it was a lot worse than I thought it was because I was focused on coping. So I challenge you to want the best for yourself. Don't settle for mediocre. Don't look at the average American, because America is one of the sickest countries in the world. We have more degenerative disease than other countries. So this is not normal. This is not healthy. In order to find a good example, you have to find a community of like-minded people who are focused on true health, and that's kind of hard to find in our society. So I challenge you to look for that. I hope that I can be part of that community, that I can walk side by side with you on your journey of health. I hope that the suffering that my family has been through will help to prevent some of the suffering that would be unnecessary for you. If we can walk that journey of health together so that you can learn, you can benefit from my experience. So, here's what happened with me. Sometimes I think God kind of blinds us to maybe something that should be right in front of our face. I think maybe it's because we're just not ready for it. And when we're ready, when we're equipped, then he raises the veil and we can see it. Or maybe he's not doing it. Maybe we're doing it to ourselves. So I knew that anything implanted in the body interferes. It interferes with cell-to-cell communication in the body. When the body sees a foreign invader, the body attacks that foreign invader because it wants to get rid of it, like the flu germ, like a virus. The body attacks that to kill it, to get rid of it, to get it out of the body. And it just kind of dawned on me that, oh my goodness, I had a mesh implant bladder sling. And those things are so deceptive. Because in my body, it was causing pain from my waist to my thighs. That's not where the mesh was. There was pain where the mesh was. I thought that that symptom was just getting older. And I was looking and looking and looking for all the tips and tools and products that can help a woman as she ages. And none of that helped. And so I began to question, really, does God make the body to heal? Maybe there are things that happen as we get older. But I kept looking. So I discovered, or just realized, okay, I've got this mesh implant. And a friend of mine, in fact, 2 or 3 friends actually challenged me. They pointed me in the right direction. I found some Facebook groups of other people who had mesh implants for a variety of purposes. And the reason I got mesh was because I had some urinary stress incontinence. And it wasn't because I had a bladder problem. My bladder didn't need to be lifted. That was not the problem at all. My problem was a hormone problem. And when I started healing my cells, the problem went away. My body healed itself. But in the meantime, I had this completely useless, horrible mesh in me. So the Facebook group of like-minded people who have experienced it, who were willing to share with me their experiences, I was able to discover where I could go to get that repair done. And there's a whole series of videos on my YouTube page. Excuse me, Tammy Stewart CHC. And if you have a mesh implant, or if you know someone who does, then I challenge you to go and listen to that playlist, because you may find some answers there. So I got the mesh removed, and oh my goodness, I felt so much better. In the meantime, another tool we were able to implement in our office was a stem cell machine. And there was a time where I hurt so bad that I would sit down to put on my pants in the morning, because when I would lift my legs, it hurt so bad. I started treating my back with our stem cell machine, and the first session I felt a little better. The second session, I could lift my legs easier. After the third session, I could lift my legs with no pain. For the first time in years, it was amazing. And if you're bogged down with pain right now, I know how you feel. In fact, you may feel worse than I ever did. Most people who have chronic fatigue, or who have chronic pain, or people who have mesh and autoimmune feel even worse than I did. So I challenge you to be persistent. Do whatever it takes to get better, because your health is worth it. And you may think, oh, great, now we've arrived. Well, the story continues, which is why I'm sharing this with you. Because I want you to be committed and persistent, and I hope that my journey will inspire you to be persistent and to keep searching for the cause. So I started, some of the pain was still there, just achiness. Some of it started coming back and getting worse. And I visited a new chiropractor, because the chiropractor in our office moved. So I went to a new chiropractor who used different techniques, and she ordered an x-ray and found that I had an extreme scoliosis. Now, when I had an x-ray probably 15 years ago, I had a very slight scoliosis. And so now I've been working with her for a month, and I'm glad that I've waited until now to share this video, because now I can share with you one more step in my journey of health, and a success story that every week I feel better and better and better. And very often on your healing journey, you might find that health, you may take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And that's kind of how I felt many times. So instead of focusing on the struggle that you have and where you are and the aches and pains you have, focus on your purpose, your why. My purpose is to be the grandma who has energy, to do things with my grandkids. I want to retire to a cruise ship, not a nursing home. My grandmother had Alzheimer's and she was in the nursing home over 10 years. And that robbed me and my children of her influence in our lives. And I don't want that to happen to me. I'm so motivated to be so healthy, even as I age. I want to stay forever young feeling. And I would love to help you stay forever young feeling also. Now, for me, some of the challenges have been just one obstacle after another after another. For you, one of the challenges that you may have right now is you might not have a community of like-minded people. Fortunately for me, my kids were willing to go along with the things that I told them to do. And as they grew up and moved out, I know that they did things I didn't know about, but they're making progress. And when we go on vacation, they eat what I feed them, and they share the same values. They receive what I've taught them. They have a commitment to be healthy. I am incredibly blessed with a husband who is like-minded, who will walk the journey of health with me. I am blessed beyond imagination with a community of practitioners who work with me, always looking for new answers. So I challenge you, if you don't have friends and family who support you in your journey of health, in searching for the answer, find a community of people who believe in true health. That may be the second greatest tool that you have. The first greatest tool will be a health coach, because think about all of the best athletes in the world, the professionals, they hire a personal coach, don't they? Professional musicians hire a personal teacher. One of our neighbors is a professional singer, and he's my age, and he still gets professional voice lessons to hone his skill. We all need that. We need coaches. We need community. So I challenge you to keep searching until you find it. And that's really what I want to leave you with, is hope. You can get better. God designed your body to heal when we give it what it needs and we remove the interference. If there is anything that I can do to help you in your journey as a clinician, your journey helping your clients, or if you're just a client someone who's sick, who needs help, I would be thrilled and honored to walk the journey of health with you, to make it easier for you so that you can learn from the experiences I've had, so that you can avoid some of that unnecessary suffering, because God designed your body to heal. I hope that helps, and I hope that you will share that information with your friends, because I guarantee you they are searching also.